My fiancée confessed, "These twins aren't yours. I'm choosing their real father." At 8 months pregnant, I said, "Best decision ever." The paternity test I'd already done had a plot twist she didn't see coming. I, 37 male, was folding baby clothes when Isabel dropped the bomb. 8 months pregnant, twins kicking visibly under her maternity dress. She sat me down with this rehearsed look on her face. "Quentin, we need to talk about the babies." I kept folding the tiny onesie, yellow with ducks. "What about them? They're not yours. I've been seeing someone else and I want to be with him. The real father." The onesie slipped from my hands. Not because I was shocked, because I was trying not to laugh. I'd known for 4 weeks. The paternity test results were tucked in my desk drawer, dated 2 weeks ago. But here's the thing, she was wrong about who the father was. After Sarah's cheating destroyed my previous 6-year relationship when I was 31, I learned to trust but verify. At 37, I wasn't making the same mistakes twice. "Best decision ever," I said, meaning every word. Her face went through like 5 different expressions. "Wait, what?" I said it's the best decision. "When do you want to move out?" "Quentin, did you hear me? The twins aren't yours." "Yeah, I heard. So who's the lucky guy?" I picked up another onesie, blue this time. She shifted uncomfortably. "His name is Phoenix from my yoga class. We've been involved for about a year." "A year? Our entire engagement?" I nodded, folding methodically. "Cool. Does he know you're telling me today?" "Yes, he's actually waiting outside. He wanted to be here for support." "Support for who? You or me?" I couldn't help the sarcasm. "This isn't a joke, Quentin. I'm carrying another man's children and I want to be with him. I get it. Seriously, Isabel, I'm not fighting this." She stood up, pacing now. "You're being weird. Why aren't you angry? Would it change anything?" "You made your choice." I expected, I don't know, something. "You were so excited about the twins." I was, until my buddy Jerome, who works at the same hospital where we did our 20-week ultrasound, let slip that Isabel had listed some dude named Phoenix as her emergency contact, not her fiancé. That started my digging. Jerome's seen enough drama in maternity wards to recognize the signs. He'd mentioned it casually over beers, not knowing he was handing me the key to everything. "Tell Phoenix he can come in." Might as well meet him properly. She practically ran to the door. Phoenix walked in looking like every yoga instructor stereotype. Man bun, spiritual tattoos, probably drinks his own kombucha. He offered his hand. "Quentin, I want you to know I never meant—" "Save it," I said, shaking his hand firmly. "You two figured out living arrangements?" They exchanged glances. Isabel spoke up. "I thought I'd stay here until the babies come. Then we'll figure out—" "Nah." I pulled out my phone. "I'll get movers here tomorrow. Where should they take?" "Your stuff?" "Quentin, I'm 8 months pregnant. You can't just kick me out. I'm not kicking you out. You chose him, so go be with him, unless—" I looked at Phoenix. "You don't have space for her?" His face went red. "I have roommates. We're looking for a place." "Roommates?" I actually laughed. "Bro, she's about to pop out 2 kids and you have roommates?" "It's temporary," Isabel jumped in. "Phoenix's art is taking off. He just needs time." "His art? What kind of art?" "Interpretive sculpture using recycled materials," Phoenix said with zero irony. "So trash art. Cool. Well, good luck with that. Isabel, movers tomorrow at noon. Be ready. This is my home too. I have rights. It's my house. My name only." "You have 0 rights here." "The thing is, I'd almost added her name to the deed 6 months ago when we got engaged. Thank God for lazy paperwork and my lawyer's advice to wait until after the wedding. At 37, you learn to protect your assets. Where am I supposed to go?" She was tearing up now. "Ask your baby daddy." "Oh wait, he lives with roommates." I turned to Phoenix. "How many roommates we talking?" 3, he mumbled. 3. "My dude, you raw dog at another man's fiancé and you can't even offer her a bedroom. That's some next-level irresponsibility right there." Isabel's tears were flowing now. "Quentin, please. The stress isn't good for the babies. Then leave. Stress solved." Phoenix stepped forward, trying to look intimidating. "You're being cruel." "Am I? I'm not the one who spent a year lying. I'm not the one who got pregnant by someone who can't even provide housing. But sure, I'm cruel for pointing out reality." "The universe brought Isabel and me together," Phoenix said with complete seriousness. "You can't fight destiny. I'm literally not fighting anything. Take her, please. I'm begging you. The universe wants you together? Great. Let the universe pay her rent too." They left an hour later. Isabel crying, Phoenix looking constipated. I celebrated with a beer and started packing her stuff methodically. Everything folded, everything organized. At 37, you handle crisis with precision, not emotion. The next morning, the movers came exactly at noon. Professional service, no drama. Isabel tried one last guilt trip as they loaded the truck. "You're really doing this? You're really throwing away everything we built?" I looked around at my house, my sanctuary that I'd nearly compromised for someone who was playing me the entire time. "We didn't build anything, Isabel. You were busy building something else entirely, with someone else." The movers finished loading her stuff, including the nursery furniture she'd insisted on buying. Phoenix showed up in his beat-up Prius just as the truck pulled away. Perfect timing for someone who apparently believes in cosmic destiny. I watched them drive off, Isabel still crying, Phoenix probably explaining how this was all part of some universal plan. Then I went inside, opened another beer, and started planning what to do with the empty nursery. At 37, you learn that every ending is really a beginning in disguise. I felt relief disguised as vindication, and for the first time in months, I could breathe freely in my own home. The entitlement escalated quick. Let me break down the greatest hits from the first week after they moved out. First, Isabel's mom called. This woman who gave me a world's best son-in-law mug last Christmas tried to guilt me into taking Isabel back. "She made a mistake, Quentin. You don't abandon family over mistakes. She's not my family, Lorraine. That's kind of the whole point. Those babies need a father. They have one. Trash sculpture guy. Phoenix can't provide for them. You have a real job." Sounds like something Isabel should have considered before letting him hit it raw for a year. She called me some names I won't repeat and hung up. At 37, you learn that other people's opinions about your boundaries say more about them than you. Then came the Flying Monkey Brigade, her friends blowing up my phone about how I'm heartless, how pregnant women make impulsive decisions, how I should man up and forgive her. I screenshotted all their messages and posted them on my Instagram story with the caption, "When you find out your friend is a serial cheater and you still defend them." Lost some mutual friends who thought I was being petty, gained my self-respect, which was worth more than their approval. The texts from Isabel started immediately. 18 messages overnight ranging from apologetic to demanding to threatening. "Quentin, I know I hurt you, but please think about the babies. Quentin, I need money for prenatal vitamins. Quentin, you can't just cut me off completely when I'm this pregnant." The desperation was palpable, but so was the manipulation. Each message was carefully crafted to push different guilt buttons. But the real entertainment came from Phoenix himself. This motherfucker showed up at my construction office during lunch. Security called up like, "There's a gentleman here with crystals." I went down out of curiosity, and sure enough, he was in our lobby with actual healing crystals arranged on the reception desk. Our secretary Carol was staring at him like he'd grown a second head. "Quentin, we need to talk about energy transfer. The only transfer I care about is your girlfriend's stuff out of my house, which already happened. I mean the energetic connection between you and the twins. Even though they're biologically mine, they've been absorbing your energy for months. I need you to formally release your energetic claims so I can properly bond with them." I stared at him. My construction crew was filtering in from lunch and they were getting an eyeful. "Are you high right now? I'm serious. This is about the sacred bond between—" "Sure thing." I waved my hands around dramatically. "I release all energy claims, spiritual connections, and cosmic entanglements. There, we good? You're mocking something sacred. Phoenix, my guy, you're standing in a construction office with healing crystals, asking me to release energy claims on kids you supposedly made while banging my fiancée behind my back." We left reality about 5 exits ago. My foreman Jake was trying not to laugh behind Phoenix's back. The whole crew was watching this spiritual circus unfold. He tried to hand me a purple crystal. "At least take this. It'll help with your anger and negative energy." "I'm not angry, dude. I'm literally the least angry person in this entire situation." "Then why won't you help Isabel? She's scared and alone. Because she chose you. Remember? The universe brought you together. Destiny and all that cosmic bullshit. So let the universe provide housing and prenatal care too." But here's where it gets interesting. Remember how I mentioned I had that paternity test done? Well, I didn't just do it on a whim. See, Isabel's cycle tracking app was synced to our shared iPad, and she forgot about that detail. According to the app, she was nowhere near ovulation when these twins were conceived based on their due date. But she was fertile during her high school reunion weekend back in June, 9 months ago. So I did some digging, found her tagged in photos from that weekend. Lots of pictures with her ex Colton Rivers, the guy she dated for 4 years before we met. Recently divorced Colton, who still looks exactly the same as he did in college. Handsome bastard, I'll give him that. They looked awfully cozy in those reunion photos, especially the ones time-stamped at 2 in the morning. I didn't just test my DNA against the twins, I tested Phoenix's too. Dude leaves his water bottles everywhere. Got a sample easily when he came to dinner that one time months ago, back when Isabel was pretending to be faithful. Turns out neither of us is the father. Those twins belong to someone else entirely, and I had a pretty good idea who. The real kicker? I'd been sitting on this information for 2 weeks, just waiting for the right moment to deploy it. When someone shows you who they really are through their actions, sometimes the best response is letting them dig their own grave deeper. At 37, you learn that patience is a weapon when wielded correctly. Jerome called me that evening. Dude, you need to hear this. Apparently, Isabel showed up at the hospital today demanding to speak to the head of obstetrics about getting a second opinion on her due date. She's trying to move it back by 2 weeks. I laughed so hard I nearly choked on my beer. She's trying to manipulate the timeline to make the math work? That's some next-level desperation right there. Gets better, Jerome continued. The doctor told her due dates don't work that way, especially not at 8 months. She got hysterical, started crying about how her life was falling apart, had to call psych for a consultation. Security eventually escorted her out. I felt a brief moment of sympathy, then remembered she'd been lying to my face for over a year while planning our wedding. The weekend brought more drama. Phoenix called from Isabel's phone, trying to negotiate. Quentin, we need to figure out a way to coexist for the baby's sake. There is no coexistence, Phoenix. There's you taking care of your responsibilities and me living my life. But these children will always connect us. No, they won't. They're not mine, remember? You told me that yourself. His voice got shaky. What if I was wrong? What if you are the father? Then you should have thought about that before you convinced my fiancée to leave me for you. Actions have consequences, my guy. Welcome to adulting at 37. I hung up and blocked both their numbers. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is stop enabling someone else's delusions. 3 days later, Isabel did something I didn't expect. She showed up at my house at 11 p.m., Phoenix in tow, demanding to know what I knew about Colton. I answered the door in my boxers and a t-shirt. It's late. What do you know? She was frantic, eyes red from crying. About what? About Colton. About the reunion. I know you had a good time back in June. Saw the photos. You two looked cozy. Phoenix stepped forward, trying to insert himself into the conversation. What photos? I pulled up Facebook on my phone, found her tagged photos from the reunion weekend, and handed it to him. These ones. Check out June 15th through 17th, especially the timestamps. He scrolled through, his face changing colors like a mood ring. There were pictures of Isabel and Colton at dinner, drinks, dancing. The timestamps told the story. 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., all very intimate, very couple-like. Isabel tried to grab the phone. Those don't mean anything. We were just catching up with old friends. At 3 in the morning? I pointed to a timestamp. In his hotel room? That was a guess, but her face confirmed it. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. Phoenix handed me my phone back, his voice scary calm. Isabel, we need to talk. It's not what it looks like. Colton means nothing to me. Then why didn't you mention seeing him? Because I knew you'd overreact like this. I stepped back, enjoying the show. Y'all want to come inside for this or handle it on my porch for the neighbors? They ignored me, too wrapped up in their drama. Phoenix was demanding answers, Isabel deflecting with the skill of someone who'd had plenty of practice. Finally, he turned to me, desperation creeping into his voice. Do you think the twins are Colton's? I shrugged, playing it casual. Does it matter? You two are destined, right? The universe brought you together. Stop mocking me, Phoenix said. Are they Colton's? I don't know, man. Why don't you ask for a paternity test? That's when Isabel completely lost her shit. You don't get to suggest that. You kicked me out. You abandoned me when I needed you most. I let you go be with your baby daddy. If that's not Phoenix, that sounds like more of a you problem than a me problem. She lunged at me then, 8 months pregnant, and she tried to swing at my face. Phoenix caught her arm, holding her back. Easy there, Tiger. Save your energy for labor. I need to know, Phoenix said quietly, his whole spiritual guru facade cracking. Are they mine, Isabel? Phoenix, of course they're yours. Isabel was full-on sobbing now. Quentin's just trying to break us up because he's bitter and alone. Then you won't mind taking a test? I said helpfully. I'm not putting my babies through unnecessary medical procedures because of his spite and jealousy. It's a blood test, not surgery. Unless you're scared of the results? Phoenix was staring at her now, really seeing her for the first time. Isabel, is there any chance at all, that they're not mine? How can you ask me that after everything we've been through? She screamed. After I left my fiancé for you? After I chose you over stability and security? That's not a no, I pointed out, and everyone heard it. Phoenix walked off my porch without another word. Isabel screamed after him, then turned on me with pure venom. You ruined everything. You couldn't just let me go. Why did you have to poison him against me? Nah, that was all you. I just pointed out some interesting timeline discrepancies. Why couldn't you just let me be happy? Because you tried to play me for a fool. And Phoenix, and probably Colton too. You wanted to have your cake and eat it too, but reality doesn't work that way. She was ugly crying now, the kind that produces snot bubbles. I fucked up, okay? I made mistakes, but I was trying to do the right thing by telling you the truth. The right thing? I laughed. The right thing would have been not cheating on me for a year. The right thing would have been not getting pregnant by God knows who. The right thing would have been breaking up with me before you started exploring your options. But you did the convenient thing, not the right thing. I hate you, she sobbed. Cool story. Get off my property before I call the cops for trespassing. She waddled away into the night, still crying. I went back inside, poured myself a whiskey, and slept like a baby. Unlike Isabel, who apparently spent the night sending Phoenix desperate texts explaining away the reunion photos. But the story gets better. The next day, Phoenix demanded a prenatal paternity test. I know this because he called me from his crystal shop or wherever the hell he works. You were right. They're not mine. Sorry, bro. How do you feel about that? Are they yours? Nope. Got tested weeks ago. So they're this Colton guy's? Probably. You going to bail? Long pause. I don't know. I love her. You love someone who cheated on her fiancé with you, then cheated on you with her ex. When you put it like that, how else would you put it? He hung up, but the drama wasn't over. Turns out Colton Rivers is married, reconciled with his ex-wife right after the reunion weekend. Isabel didn't know this little detail. She found out the hard way when she Facebook messaged him about the babies and his wife Natasha responded instead. And let me tell you, Natasha had some thoughts about the situation. The wife called me directly. Don't ask me how she got my number. Apparently, scorned women have their ways. Is this Quentin, Isabel's ex-fiancé? Yeah, that's me. I'm Natasha, Colton's wife. We need to talk about your ex and my husband's reunion weekend. I have receipts. We met at a coffee shop downtown. She brought literal credit card receipts from the reunion weekend. Hotel charges, dinners for two, room service breakfasts. He told me he was rooming with his college buddy Craig, she said, spreading the evidence on the table between us. Craig must have been real understanding about the romantic dinners and couples massages. She wasn't in the mood for jokes. I'm 4 months pregnant, Quentin. We reconciled exactly 2 weeks after that reunion. My husband came home talking about fresh starts and working on our marriage. Turns out he was working on more than just our relationship. Oh, snap. Yeah, oh, snap. So these twins are probably my husband's children from his affair weekend. She stirred her coffee for a full minute, processing everything. I'm not leaving him. That's your choice. But I'm not raising his affair babies either. Also fair. What's Isabel's plan now that Phoenix bailed? Last I heard, she was living with her mom trying to figure out single motherhood. The one she cheated on you with who isn't even the father? That's the one. Jesus, this is a complicated mess. Hey, I'm just the ex-fiancé who dodged a nuclear missile. She laughed bitterly. Must be nice to be able to walk away from it all. I mean, you could too. I'm 4 months pregnant with his legitimate child. A child conceived in our marriage bed after he raw dogged his ex at a reunion. You don't pull punches, do you? Why would I? Your husband played stupid games with stupid people. These are his stupid prizes. She left with copies of Colton's test results to confront him at home. I finished my coffee and drove back to my house to find Isabel parked outside again. Phoenix's beat-up Prius was nowhere in sight. He left me, she said as I walked up to my front door. Okay, Quentin, I'm scared. I'm about to have twins and I'm completely alone. You're not alone. You have your mom and Colton. Colton's married with his own baby on the way. So, were you engaged to me? Didn't stop either of you from hooking up. This isn't funny anymore. I could go into labor any day and I have nowhere to turn. Then why are you at my house instead of home resting with your mother? Because I need help. You loved me once, didn't you? I loved who I thought you were. That person never existed. Quentin, please, just until I figure something out. I'll sleep on the couch. I won't bother you, I promise. Absolutely not. These are innocent babies who need stability, whose father is alive and married and probably getting his ass handed to him by his pregnant wife right now. Not my problem. You're really going to let me struggle like this? I'm going to let you figure out the consequences of your own choices. Yeah. I'll tell everyone you knew I was pregnant and abandoned me in my time of need. Tell them. Tell them how you got pregnant cheating on me with a yoga instructor who bailed when he found out the babies weren't his because you were also cheating with your married ex-boyfriend. See how that story plays with people. She started ugly crying again. The full-on snot bubble, hyperventilating kind of breakdown. I fucked up everything. I know I fucked up. Are you happy now? I'm neutral. This has nothing to do with me anymore. How can you be so cold to someone you once loved? How can you be so entitled after blowing up multiple people's lives? You want to know the truth? At 37, I've learned that love isn't enough when someone shows you who they really are. You showed me you're someone who lies, cheats, manipulates, and refuses to take responsibility for her actions. That's not someone I can love or respect. I'm not entitled. I'm desperate. Hi, desperate. I'm done with your bullshit. Please leave my property. She drove off, but not before her mother called to scream at me one more time. I let it go to voicemail and deleted it without listening. Some battles aren't worth fighting, especially when you've already won the war. 2 weeks later, the twins arrived. 2 healthy boys despite all the drama surrounding their conception. Colton was forced to come clean to Natasha about everything after she confronted him with the paternity results and hotel receipts. She didn't leave him, but she made him get a vasectomy and sign a post-nuptial agreement that heavily favored her in case of future infidelity. Smart woman. He's paying child support now, $1,200 a month based on his income, but wants nothing to do with the twins emotionally. Can't say I blame him. Having affair babies show up right when you're trying to rebuild your marriage isn't exactly ideal timing. Isabel put his name on the birth certificates, so he's legally on the hook whether he likes it or not. Phoenix actually tried to make it work for about 10 days after the twins were born. Even showed up at the hospital with crystals and essential oils, talking about cleansing their auras. But reality hit hard when he realized newborn twins don't give a shit about chakras or energy healing. They want food, clean diapers, and sleep, none of which Phoenix was equipped to provide. He bounced back to his roommates faster than you could say cosmic destiny. Isabel is living with her mother now, who's basically raising the twins while Isabel recovers from what she calls the trauma of betrayal and abandonment. She's already back on dating apps with a bio that reads, "Single mom of 2 beautiful boys looking for a real man who steps up for family." The delusion remains strong. She sent me pictures of the twins with a message. "They could have been yours if you'd just forgiven me." I replied, "They were never mine. That's literally the entire point of this story." She tried one final manipulation. "I'll tell them their dad abandoned them before they were even born." "Tell them the truth," I responded. "Their mom couldn't keep track of whose dick belonged to whom. See how that conversation goes when they're older." She blocked me after that. Small miracles do happen. The wedding venue refunded half my deposit since I canceled with proper notice. Used that money for a killer home theater setup in what used to be the nursery. The baby furniture went to a women's shelter where it'll actually help people who deserve support. Jerome and I still meet for beers every Friday. He says my story has become legendary at the hospital. Cautionary tale meets justice porn. Natasha reached out last month to thank me for exposing everything. Said it hurt like hell initially, but now she knows exactly who she married and can make informed decisions about her future. We're not friends, but there's a mutual respect between people who survived the same hurricane. I'm good though. Really good. Therapy helped me process the betrayal and recognize the patterns I'd missed. At 37, I finally learned to trust my instincts over my heart. Got a promotion at work, started dating someone age-appropriate who doesn't come with a trail of destruction and lies. To anyone reading this in a similar situation, trust your gut when something feels off. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Never ignore red flags because you're in love with potential instead of reality. Also, always check if their cycle tracking app is still synced to shared devices. That's literally how this entire story started. Peace out.